All right, so welcome to Task 21, Subtracting Fractions to Uncommon Denominators. So we're going to follow up on the common denominators subtracting that we did already, and we are now going to do uncommon denominators. All right, so when we do not have like denominators, we need to make them like, all right, because in order to add or subtract fractions, we need common denominators. So you need the same, which is called common denominators, to add or subtract fractions. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to set up that fraction on the left, and we're going to set up a fraction on the right. We are going to take the denominator on the left, we're going to move it to the right. We're going to take the denominator on the right, we're going to move it to the left. So we want to move the 6 to the top and the bottom of the left. We want to move the 9 to the top and the bottom of the right. And now we are going to multiply the top of the left and the bottom of the left. And I'm just going to kind of color code here. And we're going to do the same thing to the top of the right and the bottom of the right. So if we do this step correctly, we should end up with two fractions again. So that's the whole thing. If we start with two fractions, we should end with two fractions. Okay, and we're going to subtract. We're going to pull that subtraction down. And we've kind of color coded so we can see the green's going to end up with the green, the yellow with the yellow, the orange with the orange, the purple with the purple. But we're going to multiply. So now 6 times 4 gives me 24. 6 times 9 gets me 54. 1 times 9 gives me 9, and 6 times 9 gives me 54. If I've done this correctly, I get common denominators on the bottom, or like denominators, the same number. And when I subtract, if I have common denominators, I don't want to touch those denominators. I don't want to change those denominators. So I'm going to have a 54 in the denominator when I subtract, and 24 minus 9 gives me 15. If I look for a common factor, the common factor is 3. And if I divide both of those by 3, 15 divided by 3 gives me 5. 54 divided by 3 gives me 18. And since 5 is prime, I am done. All right, so letter B, I'm going to set it up in the same way. So I have fraction bar over here, fraction bar over here. I bring the 10 to the right. I bring the 100 to the left. Now this is a bigger number, but we can still do it even with the bigger numbers, especially with the 10 and the 100. We're going to be okay because those are not terrible numbers to be using. All right, so we're going to get 900 over 1,000 minus 30 over, again, 1,000. And if you're saying, where did you get all those numbers? Well, we have the tops on the left, bottoms on the left. We have the top on the right, and the bottom on the right. We're still subtracting because on this whole worksheet, we're going to be subtracting. And again, 1,000 times 9 gives me, 100 times 9 gives me 900. 100 times 10 gets me 1,000. 3 times 10 gets me 30. 100 times 10 gets me 1,000. I know I did it correct because now I have common denominator. I'm going to keep my denominator. So I have 1,000 on the bottom, and 900 minus 30 gives me 870. If I have a 0 at the end on the top and the bottom, they actually cancel out. So now I have 87 over 100. And that's all that one's going to simplify. I have no common factors. So I'm all done. All right, next one. I set up my parentheses. I bring my 5 to the right. I bring my 4 to the left. 4 on the top and the bottom. 5 on the top and the bottom. Okay, if you want to color code, top, bottom, top, bottom. I have 16 over 20 minus 15 over 20. 20 is going to be my denominator, which is like, check. And I get 1 on the top because 16 minus 15 is 1. 1 over 20 doesn't simplify, so I am done. Letter D, I'm going to set up my parentheses. 6 goes to the right, 8 comes to the left, 8 on the top and the bottom, 6 on the top and the bottom. Top, just color coding, bottom, top, bottom. If I do my multiplication, 8 times 5 is 40, over 8 times 6 is 48, 1 times 6 is 6, 8 times 6 is 48, 48's on the bottom. That's correct because they're like, and I want to keep it. 40 minus 6 is 34. Those are both even numbers. So then I am able to simplify it down to 17 over 24. 17 is prime. So that's going to be it. And I am done at 17 over 24. All right, same process. And you see that my process doesn't change. I'm very consistent with what I do. My parentheses, 7 to the right, 2 to the left. 2 on top and bottom, 7 on top and bottom. I get 8 over 14 minus 7 over 14. I subtract the top, I leave the bottom alone. I can't simplify, I get 1 over 14. Parentheses, 5 to the right, 9 to the left, 9 over 9, 5 over 5, 18 over 45, minus 10 over 45. I have 45 on the bottom. I have 8 on the top. I have no like terms, no factor that I can divide out. So I am done. Now, my only switch going from fractions to mixed numbers, is number 1, change to improper fractions. You are not going to be able to always keep in mixed numbers. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say you never can, but you're going to get in the habit of keeping it in mixed numbers and being okay and okay and okay. And very quickly, you're going to see that you're going to get some wrong because ultimately you cannot keep them in mixed numbers all the time. There's going to be certain times where you have to regroup, just like with whole numbers. And then you are going to be in trouble. You're going to end up getting it wrong. Figurative trouble, obviously. So we're going to change to mixed numbers. The first thing we're going to do, though, before, step 0, make sure you have fractions. What I mean by that is, like, if you look at that 6, anything can be made into a fraction by putting it over a 1. Okay, so you can put any number over 1. You can put any whole number over 1 to make a fraction. All right, So we have 6 over 1 minus 8 over 3. So that's my step 1 of changing it to improper fractions. Now I have to do the same thing I did for the first 6. I'm going to throw my parentheses there, bring my 1 over, bring my 3 over, 3 over 3, 1 over 1. I get 18 over 3 minus 8 over 3. I end up with 10 over 3. And I am going to leave any of my answers. Whoops, that's not how you spell answers. As simplified, improper fractions. Remember, all these notes that I'm taking on these videos, if I write it, you should write it. These not only are going to be helpful for the vocab kind of questions on the quizzes, but they are also, if it's important enough for me to write it down, you should definitely be writing it down too. All right. For letter B, we're going to turn them into improper fractions. So I have 27 over 1, I lied, 2, minus 17 over 3. I don't have common denominators, so I'm going to set up those parentheses. I'm going to bring the 2 over. I'm going to bring the 3 over. 3 on top and bottom. 2 on top and bottom. I'm going to get 81 over 6 minus 34 over 6. So I definitely have a 6 on the bottom. And when I subtract 81 minus 34, 47. 47 over 6, that is not going to simplify because 47 is a prime number. All right, so let's look at these last couple. They're going to be the same as the 2 on the previous page. We're going to turn them into improper fractions. So this is going to be 75 over 8 minus 35 over 6. We're going to set up for our common denominators. Ooh, we have to do a little bit of multiplication here. All right, so we have 170 over 48. We're going to cut both of those in half. We're going to get 85 over 24. And that might just about do it. All right, next one. We only had to turn 1 into an improper fraction, and then we're ready to move into the next step of finding our common denominator. The common denominator is actually going to be the same as the previous one. And you're going to start to notice a lot of them, there's, only so many combinations or permutations out there. And we're going to end up with 11/12. All right, for this one, when we do the improper fractions, again, we only have to switch 1. We're going to get 19/5 minus 5/6. We're going to set up for our common denominators. 114 over 30 minus 25 over 30. And I get 89 over 30, and that does not simplify. All right, last one, changing to improper fractions, I get 7 over 4 minus 3 over 2. Changing to common denominators, 2's on the left, 4's on the right. I get 14 over 8 minus 12 over 8. I get 2 over 8, which if I cut them both in half, I get 1 over 4. Final answer. All right, go back, rewatch, retry, stop, rewind, pause, fast forward, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, I'll talk to you soon.